Before this review starts, I just want to take a quick moment and discuss that even though this movie has a lot of cultural significance, I can't really ignore the issues in the form of two men who are involved in this particular movie. That, yes, even though they have influence in the world of filmmaking, John Lasseter and Joss Whedon, I also cannot just ignore their personal issues that have stemmed out to the public and the ways in which they have hurt people. So I want to make this clear. I am not in any way trying to support these men in particular, nor trying to just hand wave off any sort of the real life implications that these men have had. I'm just simply just discussing the movie itself, the work that they've done, but I'm also aware of the fact that these are two individuals that anyway I do not really support, nor do I want to show any sort of sympathy, because these are serious accusations, but also allegations that, quite frankly, should be taken important and should really showcase how much that even with guys like these, sometimes, and unfortunately, a lot of the times, they have done some really terrible things to people. I want to make that very clear. I want to address it head on and know that I will not in any way try to support these guys in particular. I'm just only going off of the work of the film and the people who put a lot of hard work into it. That said, now that we've discussed that, I want to now transition into this review.
To infinity and beyond!
Toy Story.
Look out! Cat.
Toy Story is directed by John Lasseter with a screenplay by Joss Whedon, Andrew Stanton, Joe Cohen, and Alec Sokolow, and a story by John Lasseter, Peter Docter, Andrew Stanton, and Joe Ranft. The film stars Tom Hanks, Tim Allen, Annie Potts, John Ratzenberger, Don Rickles, Wallace, Shawn, and Jim Varney. According to IMDb's plot synopsis, a cowboy doll is profoundly jealous when a new spaceman action figure supplants him as the top toy in a boy's bedroom. When circumstances separate them from their owner, the duo have to put aside their differences to return to him. Toy Story is one of Disney's / Pixar's crowning achievements in animation history that has left a lasting impact. That is a huge understatement when I say that this movie has had a huge effect when it came to animation. Because prior to this, of course, everything was done in 2D fashion. And it's not to say that there wasn't any sort of dabbling before computer 3D generated animation, but this was really the movie that kickstarted that idea. And now to this day, we have a lot of 3D animation, and it's simply because of what Pixar was able to achieve with this particular franchise. A franchise that has lasted for over 30 years, and it's continuing this summer with a fifth film. I know so many people will moan and groan at the idea that there is a fifth movie, and while we can sit here and argue about that, that said, I'm still looking forward to it because I was probably one of the few people that actually enjoyed the fourth movie. I still don't really understand the huge hate for it, but now, with that said, we are going back now to this original 1995 classic and just rewatching it. Can that still hold up? Because, nostalgia tends to play a lot of tricks on us, or tries to make us think of things in a more positive way and not really see all the flaws. And I still find this to be a fantastic animated classic that just holds up super well. It's crazy to think that even though it has been 30 years, it's just surprising to see how much this movie, you feel the impact, but you also feel the love and appreciation that everyone put into this project, from the animators and the voice actors. All of that is there, and is simply because of how much this is a really damn good movie, and with no negatives. And people, I'm telling you, I don't think that there were any problems with this movie. Even if I could, it would be a minor, insignificant issue I have with it. Here are now the positives. The voice acting is excellent. The whole cast, but of course in particular, Hanks and Alan, bring their best when they are with each other, and allowing them to feel expressive and feel as if these toys really do truly come to life. And yeah, it is simply based off of the fact that you have Tom Hanks and Tim Allen. Two of these actors just work so well, and their characters just feel like they have an instant relationship in the sense of where Woody sees Buzz Lightyear as a problem and issue because Woody's the favorite, and you have Buzz who is just completely clueless and oblivious to the fact that he is a actual toy. You just feel that sort of connection and chemistry in the way in which Tom Hanks and Tim Allen both really convey each of their characters, how they are completely different or just completely such the polar opposite. One is realistic, the other one is just unbeknownst to the idea of even being a toy. And it just makes for a great pairing and a great duo that to this day I think so many people love seeing. And it's simply because of the fact that both Hanks and Allen were able to bounce off of each other and have this sort of chemistry that just fits so well for what these characters are supposed to be, especially since these are characters that you would look at one and say kind of rude and the other one is just completely dumb, but there's just something about them that makes them so lovable to watch. The direction is effortless. Director John Lasseter shows the perspective of the toy's POV in wonder and awe, making it feel spectacular. And yes, like I mentioned at the beginning of this video, I know about John Lasseter and that whole situation, but I just want to talk about the direction here because there is something to be had with how he was able to just tap into the idea of what it means for a toy to come to life and seeing its perspective, seeing how small these toys are, but also feeling how big the world is to them compared to like how normal human beings are, and how this adventure that you see throughout the course of the movie, or this relationship between Woody and Buzz grow, it's just on display here. You feel this new world that you just feel like you never thought you would ever think about or even come to mind, and yet somehow Lasseter was able to just really tap into that nature with ease and not feeling like this was like pulling teeth. He just instantly knew how this movie had to be and how it was supposed to kind of come off as. The animation is incredible. The models of the toys and the environment still look gorgeous, especially when toys are running or they're moving. It does feel like there's a lot of life that was really brought into those specific toys that they bring in, whether it be Woody, Buzz, Rex, Mr. Potato Head, Ham, whoever it is. There's just this sort of feeling of how these characters feel articulated to how a toy like this would move on its own. While the human characters, I will say, show their age, this is probably where I would say there would be probably that nitpick in that, yes, the human models just do not look right and have really shown its age, and that it feels like copy and pasted. And I mean, that's always the possibility, especially of those times. It was common to see a lot of characters that just look and sound the same from each other, especially look wise. They all kind of look the same, but most of it just really holds up. And honestly, because the humans aren't really as much hugely present in this movie, it is all focused on the toys in the sense of they were able to just focus on the relationship and the dynamic. I think it's able to scoot on by with the human characters in the sense of their models being what they are. And at the very least, for nothing else, it is still kind of impressive to see for the first time a movie like this just really utilizing 3D animation to its full capabilities, especially for 1995. That's really impressive and insane to even think about. The music is amazing. Composer Randy Newman creates a whimsical and enlightening score that feels simple in its approach, also spawning one of the most iconic opening themes for an animated film. To this day, You Got a Friend in Me is still a really recognizable song in Disney slash Pixar's like catalog of like iconic scores, or rather songs that you would hear from Disney, and just I think one that still has this sort of simple nature to it that it's just perfect for what this movie needs to be, and just not feeling like it's overly grand or huge. It's just a very simple melody type of song. And as for the rest of the movie, the score is worked very well, and that is because of Randy Newman and his approach to making everything feel larger than life, but really feeling simple and sweet and sincere. It feels as if the music just fits right with what this movie has to be. The story is perfect, following this cowboy doll who comes to life. Becoming jealous about a spaceman was funny but also heartfelt when it happens, becoming one of the most influential animated films to date. I mean, I know you're going to hear me say that a lot, but I mean, it's true. Because the fact that you are able to follow this cowboy, Woody, being so jealous of the spaceman, Buzz Lightyear, and you just see how much what it means for a toy to feel significant or important in a child's life, especially when they are growing up, and the way in which they help that child through troubles, or rather share that joy and innocence of what it means to be a kid. I mean, you really feel that in Woody, in the sense of he is very passionate about Andy, but that's also because Andy just picks him because he's the favorite. And it is also addressing the idea that it's okay to share with other people. Like, even if you have a friend in your life, you're always going to have other friends. Your friend will always be there, but it's okay to also explore the idea of sharing more than one friend in your life and to experience the highs and lows of what it means to be alive. And I think that that's what works about this movie, is the idea and the duality of showing how much Woody has to learn this idea of sharing and learning to know that it's okay to have other toys be favorited as well, and also recognizing that even though we can sometimes not realize it ourselves, that we can grow and we can at least a bit learn from each other how much that give off towards other people. The writing is solid. Writers Whedon, Stanton, Cohen, and Sokolow pens a script that's both hilarious but well thought out to this concept, leading to some of the most quotable lines ever. To this day, people talk about To Infinity and Beyond, or even jokes like, excuse me, I think the word you're searching for is Space Ranger. Well, the word I'm searching for, I can't say because there are preschool toys around. There's just something in the way in which the lines just hit on a dime, and how quotable they are is just really funny to me. Like, hey, I'm Woody. Howdy, 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 howdy. Like, I quote howdy simply because my dad got that quote from this movie. Like, I use that. Whenever I say howdy, I'm really referring to what my dad would say to me, and he's referring to what this movie has said to him. So it's kind of impactful in the way in which lines like that are supplanted or just sort of being instantly quotable, in the way in which we kind of laugh at the funny nature of how the script kind of really weaves that in. But it also has some genuinely heart-to-heart moments in the film that really just helps the movie really showcase its serious nature and able to balance out both the comedy and the drama in this film. Pacing runtime is perfect. Each scene is short but enough to keep it all on point. With a runtime of 1 hour and 21 minutes, it goes by quick. I was legit surprised that even for a movie that's at an hour and 21 minutes, I couldn't tell you it was that long. I feel like it was probably less than that. I'm just saying, it feels like it's so quick, I didn't even notice it being an hour. That's how good this movie is able to just get through scenes as efficient as it does and feel as impactful as they do. Even though we talk about how length times, especially with animated movies, can overstay its welcome, somehow I never felt it. It just never really came across my mind to think that this movie is at least an hour and a half. The editing is sharp. Each cut and transition feels fluent and steady by keeping up with the film, blending together very well overall. The way in which cuts are handled, how the transitions are put in place, I mean, it still holds up. It's remarkable on how much some of the transitions from like night to day, or like posters planted over time, in the ways in which scenes just, again, still impactful with each cut. It's crazy to think that an anime movie like this could still do that after 30 years. It's insane to me to think, for all that effort, you feel it. You feel the energy in it. The production is inspiring. Seeing all the hard work and effort from everyone involved made such a huge impact, and making up for all the setbacks and trouble issues that went on with this movie. And I do believe I remember watching maybe a Pixar documentary, or at least the making of Toy Story, or some clips of it, and even rereading some of it, for a movie that had such a troubled production issue with regards to the idea of toys coming to life, and how they wanted to make, Pixar wanted to make it a little bit more edgier, and it just wasn't working, and they had to pretty much redo a lot of things. It's crazy to think that all that sort of patience and sort of buckling down on what they went with, I think pays off, and it ultimately feels now more inspiring because it just showcases how much that, for as much as there were problems and issues that stem with some of the writing or the story in the production process, it's inspiring to see a film like this showcase that even through all that struggle and turmoil, you could still pull off a great comeback with a film that, even if it's reworked, it still pulls it off in the end. The villain is disturbing. Sid, being this sick and twisted kid that destroys toys, made it both hilarious and scary, being effective as an obstacle to the movie, especially near the third act. I never thought for a character like Sid to feel as terrifying but also hilarious is just one of those things you never thought you could ever say. Like, the kid's messed up. The kid is an issue. But at the same time, he is kind of funny, especially with some of the moments in the film where you feel like he's still a kid. So he'll just say and act like a kid at times, but he'll just then act like a twisted, crazy, delusional person. Yet somehow you just kind of love how a character like this could exist in a kids movie, because nowadays you don't really see characters like this. You don't really have a character that like wants to go out and blow up other toys. You would have other toy villains, which the series would explore more with than human villains, but I believe that this is probably like one of the first times in, at the very least, the Toy Story franchise where like he felt like an obstacle for its third act more than just like kind of pushing the plot to have the villain be the main driving force. It's more so he's the thing that's standing between Woody and Buzz getting back to Andy, and they will do whatever it takes to get out of it. No matter what age you are, Toy Story still manages to be universally for everyone to fall in love with. Everything is just perfect from start to finish, making this still one of Pixar's best, but one of cultural and significant importance in animation history. I cannot express it enough. That is how much this movie has had a lasting impact, because not only is Pixar one of the more prime, sort of top tier animation studios, even though people could say in recent years they have fallen off, but still, the fact that for its animation, even if people could say, yeah, other movies are better looking, it's just still incredible achievement in filmmaking and animation. It's very inspiring. It's a movie that I think nobody would ever get tired of, and one that I feel like generations to come will still be watching this movie and still falling in love with it. I'm going to give Toy Story a 10 out of 10. This movie is fantastic. It is one that has shown how much Pixar has really had a lasting impact with regards to how computer 3D animation can really innovate and help tell a story that is as endearing but also fun as it can, because the concept itself is cool, but to have a story that is hilarious but also sweet at times, I just find that to be just such a delightful watch that I just couldn't help but have a smile throughout watching it. So next week I will not have a review, and the following week I will have 2 reviews for 2 latest movies. So yes, look forward to those reviews and other reviews coming soon.